The West has been so busy creating safe spaces in university that we forgot about kindergarten. The left loves to talk about society's sexualization of women, but what they won't dare discuss is one dirty little secret: their sexualization of kids. The truth is, the left uses popular culture to normalize the sexualization of children and push pedophilia. The latest example of their perverted push comes in a new comedy show on Fox called The Mick. The show features a 6-year-old boy who is apparently transgender wearing bondage gag. Now, for the leftist connection, look no further than the show's creators, Dawn and John Sherman. They're sons of top Hollywood executive Peter Sherman, who, in case you're curious, is a mega donor to the Democratic Party. Now, besides donations topping 6 figures to the Democrats, Sherman has hosted fundraisers for Barack Obama in his private home, and his was one of the many Silicon Valley groups to endorse Hillary Clinton. But back to their family's new perverted little pet project. Apart from depicting a 6-year-old boy in BDSM gear, The Mick has a host of other really obscene scenes, like one that show the boy dressing up in a little girl's outfit and commenting on how the dress he's wearing allows for a breeze on his vagina. Here are a few excerpts from that show's trailer.
I dare you to lick the grill. I'll give you $1,000.
No, he does not have $1,000. Oh my God. Can you just tell me how bad it is?
He burnt his taste buds off.
Me dead. You look really good in that dress, by the way.
Thanks. It kind of breezes on my vagina.
Now, I'm not opposed to off-colored humor, and I most certainly do not offend easily, but none of what I just watched was in any way funny. It just seriously creeped me out. So after appearing on Drudge, that trailer was removed without explanation, like removed from everywhere, just wiped from the internet. But the explanation for the collective Control-Alt-Delete is simple. The radical leftists behind The Mick were called out for sexualizing that young child. So, caught in the act, they retreated. But this isn't the first time that the regressive left has created content for perverts with a pedophilic appetite.
And she was just standing there watching me, and I remember looking up and just seeing her and just going, wow, she's beautiful. I knew I was in deep. I had fallen for the girl. The last thing I wanted to do was hurt her.
That clip was recently published in Salon, a website that focuses on current affairs from a seriously left-leaning perspective. The piece, titled "I'm Not a Monster, a Pedophile on Attraction, Love, and a Life of Loneliness," profiles an outed pedophile, Todd Nickerson. Now, in it, the 43-year-old claims that he's never abused a child and never will, despite his impulses to do so. Now, if you have a kid in the room, I suggest asking them to leave. Otherwise, I want you to watch this depraved freak articulate his sexual attraction to one 5-year-old kid.
I took on a regular babysitting gig. She was 5. She was a precocious girl. She was advanced for her age. She was also very independent. A lot of my fantasies actually revolve around little girls who are in some way more powerful than I am. Eventually, my attraction became, overwhelming to the point I had to go relieve myself in the bathroom. That's when I had to leave town and get my head straightened out. I didn't abuse her because I knew the harm that it could cause.
Now, I can't be sure, but I'm fairly certain that what Salon hopes to achieve is sympathy for the pedophile in their interview, with the ultimate goal of normalizing the disorder. Don't believe me? Here's another part of that same interview.
Society makes it harder by persecuting us because a lot of us become fatalistic. We just start to think it doesn't matter what we do or say, they're going to hate us anyway. We need to find some kind of middle ground where society and pedophiles can come together. We love kids, we want to protect them too.
Mr. Nickerson is right. Society does make it hard for pedophiles, for a good reason. Children are innocent and vulnerable beings, incapable of sexual consent with an adult. And those who find kids sexually attractive should never be encouraged to relish in their fantasies, except maybe in the presence of an authority like a psychiatrist who wants to put a stop to their abnormal and abhorrent fetish. And yet, instances of leftist publications standing up for pedophiles seems to be on the upswing. I'm serious. It wasn't too long ago that Canada's own Toronto Star profiled a doctor from the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health. His claim is that pedophilia is just another sexual orientation, deep-rooted and unchangeable. And even more recently, Canada's state broadcaster, the left-leaning CBC, ran a documentary titled I, Pedophile. The flick documents so-called misconceptions about pedophiles, such as those you see here, including the fact that pedophiles are, quote, not attracted to all children. In one part, the documentary discusses the case of Bob, who discovered he was attracted exclusively to boys between 7 and 11 years of age. Apparently, kids below 6 and above 12 aren't on his radar, and I don't know, are we supposed to somehow feel safer knowing this? Also in the Great White North, some folks might remember the media blackout during the Ben Levin trial. Media simply shrugged their shoulders when Levin was found guilty of creating and distributing child pornography, which is sort of disturbing when you consider the fact that this guy was the architect of Ontario's sex education curriculum, which is still in place for kids across the entire province from grades 1 all the way to 8. Now, pedophilia is, of course, not confined to just one side of the political spectrum, but defending it is. Of course, the majority of left-wingers are horrified by the attempt of pro-pedophile activists to piggyback on their movement. But the pro-pedophile activism continues to surface on the left in a way that it just does not on the right. So why is that? It's actually quite simple when you think about it. The marriage between pedophiles and the left is born of the moral relativism that underpins radical left-wing thought. While the libertarian wishes to strip the state of legal checks on personal behavior, he or she does draw a red line around behavior that harms others. Relativists, on the other hand, they have no such rules. By definition, they do not believe in rules at all. And so gagging a 6-year-old boy on national television and then having him talk about his imaginary vagina is no big deal. Unless, of course, sane people push back, as they did with the Mick. At a juncture of our history when kids spent a lot less time on playgrounds and a lot more time in front of their TVs and their iPhones and at their computers, well, pedophiles today don't have to drive around schools in vans full of lollipops. They've moved their operations online and on screen to where our kids are more vulnerable than ever. Like what you just saw? Then click below and subscribe to our YouTube channel.